Hi everyone, welcome back to Frappe School. This is the second chapter in our Customer Support Management course. Today, we will be discussing service level agreements. By the end of this chapter, you will be able to understand what are service level agreements, the benefits of service level agreements, and how to configure it in ERPNext. A service level agreement is a contract between a service provider and a customer. It defines the types of services offered, metrics that are used to measure the quality of service, defines workflows that are used to provide the service, and also defines remedies to be offered when service metrics are not met. Service level agreements provide details of the services that the seller is committing to offer. Let's take the example of SLAs in contracts with technology vendors. The first is resolution time. Resolution time is the maximum time before which a vendor has to resolve a client support ticket. The second one is availability. This defines the minimum time for which the services provided have to be available for the customer. For example, the service provided should be running 99.9% of the time. Service level agreements also include the rights and responsibilities of both parties in detail. They help reduce the risk for both parties by bringing clarity with regards to the business objectives and the details of penalties and remedies that the service providers offer. Let's see how we can set up and use service level agreements in ERPNext.
Let's first check out a few configurations with regard to service level agreements. We can do this by navigating from Home to the Support module and clicking on Support Settings under the Settings section. Here, first we can see the Track Service Level Agreement checkbox. Selecting the checkbox allows us to start using and tracking service level agreements in issues. When we select this checkbox, we will be able to see another checkbox for allowing resetting service level agreements. This allows us to reset the service level agreements in issues before the SLA fails. Next, let's explore issue priority. We can navigate in the support module and click on issue priority under the issue section. Here, we can see some predefined priority levels in the system and we can create a new one by clicking on Add Issue Priority. Once we open it, we can type in the name to define the issue priority and add a description. For example, let's create a priority called Critical. When we've added all the details, we can save this issue priority. Moving on, let's try to create a service level agreement. We will find a list of SLAs in the support module under the service level agreement section. We can create a new one by clicking on Add Service Level Agreement. There are various details we will need to fill out. Let's start by adding Enterprise SLA in service level. Then, we can select an employee group that will handle this service level if we want, and we will need to add a holiday list as well. The holidays in the holiday list will be accommodated while considering resolution times and response times and will be extended accordingly. The default service level agreement checkbox will apply this service level to a customer if they don't have any other service level agreement assigned to them. The next section is the entity section. Here, we can select an entity type that will define a category like customer, customer group, or territory based on which this SLA will be applied. Let's select customer. And in the entity field, we can select a specific customer. Next, We can set an assignment condition in the assignment condition section, which will ensure that if these conditions are met, then this SLA will be assigned to that particular entity. In the agreement details section, we can select a start date and an end date to define the validity of this agreement, and we can use the active checkbox to show that this service level agreement is active. The pause SLA on section helps to pause SLA on issues that are awaiting responses. We can select a status on which we wish to pause the SLA. For example, if we want to pause when the status is set to replied, then we can select that here. In the response and resolution time section, we can add multiple priorities in the priorities table and their expected first response and resolution times in hours and minutes. If we want to set a particular priority level as the default, we can use the default priority checkbox to define that. Once done, we can add more timelines for other priorities if we want. In the support hours section, we can define the days of the week on which support is provided. We can add a start and end time for the working day as well here. Once we have added all the details, we can save the newly created service level agreement and use it with various customers. Before we end the chapter, let's check out an issue where we can see the time to respond and time to resolve with a particular SLA selected. Here, we can see that time to first response and time to resolve is shown at the top based on the timelines we have set in the priorities table while creating the SLA.
This brings us to the end of the second chapter in our Customer Support Management course. I hope this helped you understand what service level agreements are and their benefits when using them in ERPNext. You can read more about ERPNext on docs.erpnext.com. In the next chapter, we will discuss warranty claim management in ERPNext. Thank you.